next news. Breaking news from the White House.
This is the part the media never wants to say out loud. The Trump administration is not just talking about immigration anymore. It's narrowing the fight to one simple question. Yes, a very simple question. It's so simple, so moral, and so devastating for the left that Democrats can barely answer it without exposing themselves. What do you do with people who are in this country illegally and are also a threat to public safety? That is the ground that President Trump and his team want this battle fought on. And after what happened to Laken Riley, they know exactly why. The left wanted this to stay ideological. The White House just made it painfully personal. And the stakes are not abstract. They're academic. They're measured in victims, in grieving parents, and in lives that should still be here. Prosecutors said that Laken Riley fought for 18 minutes before her heart stopped, allegedly at the hands of Jose Ibarra, an illegal alien from Venezuela. 18 minutes. Think about that. That's why Tom Homan said, "I don't want to meet another angel mom or dad." Notice what he's doing. He's not leading with paperwork, asylum claims, or policy jargon. He's leading with public safety, with victims, with the simple idea that if someone is here illegally and a danger to the community, removing that person should not be a partisan fight at all. And that's exactly why Democrats are in trouble. Because once the debate is framed around violent offenders instead of slogans, sanctuary politicians, open border activists, and every official who obstructs ICE suddenly have to defend the indefensible. And that's where this gets very uncomfortable for the left. And before we go further, if you're serious about protecting your family's future, that also means paying attention to your health right now. You've probably seen the clip of Joe Rogan with Mel Gibson talking about people close to them who face serious health struggles and then saw dramatic turnarounds. Rogan brings up light-based therapies working at the cellular level. And Gibson says it plainly, the stuff works. See, that caught my attention. In my own life, I watched something very similar. My wife dealt with constant discomfort and anxiety for a long time. And when we started looking into red light therapy, it opened a door. And that's why I want you to check out Jonathan Otto's special offers at myredlight.com. Or check out the countless interviews that I've done with him right here on this channel. They are eye-opening. So if you've been curious about a practical wellness tool you can use at home, this is worth a look. Use NNN25 for individual items or NNN30 for bundles. Go to myredlight.com today. Now, back to the story, because what Republicans just did in Washington changes this fight in a very big way. See, here's the twist that matters. This is no longer just about what Tom Homan said or even about one horrific case. Republicans have now moved to make this enforcement framework harder for Democrats to sabotage. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said the GOP had no choice after Democrats walked away, demanded more concessions, and let critical agencies sit unfunded for weeks. So the argument is shifting fast, not whether dangerous criminal illegal aliens should be removed, but whether Democrats should be allowed to block the people trying to do it. Here's Tom Homan. I do not want to meet another angel mom or dad.
I want to take public safety trucks off the street. Let's not forget Laken Riley and all these other young ladies that were raped and some were murdered by these illegal aliens. I want to prevent I don't want to meet another angel mom or dad. I don't want another angel mom and dad. I want governors and mayors and members of the Hill to agree with me. If you're in the country illegally and you're a public safety threat, this should be a nonpartisan issue. Let's all work together. For instance, in New York City, Rikers Island, when you have an illegal alien booked in Rikers Island, why did they book him in Rikers Island? Because they obviously perceive him as a public safety threat. So if he's a criminal alien, he's a public safety threat, why in the world would you not work with us to not only remove him from the community, remove him from the country, which makes those streets safer? And as far as the local police, Governor Hochul made a statement, she wants local cops to do local cop stuff. Well, local cops are doing a lot more local cop stuff because they're arresting the same illegal alien over and over and over again because we don't have access to them and remove them the first time. Working with us would put more boots, police officers on the ground to do more work. It's an efficient. It's a clear efficiency.
So Homan laying it out. Removing criminal illegals should be common sense, not a partisan game. And next clip shows exactly why. Prosecutors detail the final 18 minutes of Laken Riley's fight for her life. Let's go back to that moment in that courtroom.
On February 22nd, Jose Ibarra put on a black hat, a hoodie-style jacket, and some black kitchen-style disposable gloves. And he went hunting for females on the University of Georgia's campus. And in his hunt, he encountered 22-year-old Laken Riley on her morning jog. And when Laken Riley refused to be his rape victim, he bashed her skull in with a rock repeatedly. That is what this case is all about. The evidence will show that Laken fought. She fought for her life. She fought for her dignity. And in that fight, she caused this defendant to leave forensic evidence behind. She also marked her killer for the entire world to see. The forensic evidence that he left behind in this fight is his DNA, and only his DNA and Laken's, underneath Laken's right fingernails. He also left behind in a struggle with her over her phone, because the court will hear that she called 911. He left behind his left thumbprint on her iPhone, which was found not far from her body at the crime scene. And it is that forensic evidence alone that would give you enough evidence to find him guilty as charged on the counts in this indictment. But the evidence in this case will come in basically three forms. There'll be forensic evidence, there will be digital evidence, and there will be video evidence. And all three forms of those evidence will point to one person, Jose Ibarra, as the killer of Laken Riley.
A case is the human cost of open border insanity. Now the House has moved to lock in $70 billion for ICE and Border Patrol. So Democrats cannot hold enforcement hostage again. Trump Daily Post, Democrats will no longer be able to hold Americans hostage by shutting the government down over ICE and DHS funding.
On this vote, the yeas are 214, the nays are 212. The bill is passed. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
So the House has passed the bill. The vote is in. Republicans push it through by the slimmest margin. Next, Trump puts pen to paper, says DHS will be funded through the end of his term.
This morning, I'm thrilled to sign the Secure America Act to immediately and fully fund the Department of Homeland Security through the end of my term. So we won't have that to be talking about anymore, Lisa.
No, we will not, sir.
We'll give the heroes of ICE and Border Patrol, and that's what they are, they're heroes, what they have to go through to keep us safe, the support and resources they need to defend our borders, protect our homeland, and to keep America safe.
So Trump didn't just sign the bill, he made it clear why it had to happen. Next, he rips Democrats for trying to choke off DHS funding and drag the country back to chaos and crime.
For more than 100 days, congressional Democrats tried to block all funding for the Department of Homeland Security in a reprehensible attempt to throw open the borders of the United States of America. They want to drag us straight back to chaos and crime. the crooked Joe Biden administration, one of the most corrupt administrations, probably the most corrupt ever. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And we're not going to let them do that. I have to say that Washington just had some crime numbers out, and it's the lowest number, best crime numbers we've had, they say, in 58 years. So we went from being a crime-ridden city, our capital, being a crime-ridden place, to being among the safest cities in the country. I'm so happy. And you're big beneficiaries because most of you live here. You hear all the time, the press, the media, and even actually some of the media, a couple of people that I would not suspect, a couple of people truly treat me unfairly, but they came up and they thanked me because it's so much. We have a safe city now.
So after blasting Democrats for blocking enforcement, Trump's team is spelling out the win in plain English. Up next, DHS Secretary Mullen explains how this shuts the left's favorite leverage play against ICE and CBP.
Well, first of all, we're able to pay everybody. This is super exciting for all of us. We have employees at ICE and CBP that have been, well, let's say in South and Central America that haven't been paid since February. Wow. This is amazing. They were still showing up and working every single day. We had I had other cabinet members that was helping us out in areas that they could. Maybe they would do special assignments for them while they were overseas with the State Department or with different agencies, was helping put some money in their pocket. But the fact that these guys and gals still showed up every single day and worked will tell you that they are truly committed to keeping our homeland and our shores safe every single day. Now that, because thanks to President Trump and his forward thinking, saying, why don't we just go ahead and take it off the table for my entire presidency, fund them fully for 3 years, which means that now we won't have the Democrats threatening to shut down Immigration Custom Enforcement, which is ICE, or shutting down our Custom and Border Protection, which is, protects our borders. They can't do that anymore. They can't use that as a leverage against the American people and against President Trump. So this is a major victory for President Trump and DHS.
A major victory. He says Democrats lost their ability to threaten ICE and Border Patrol. Now John Thune explains why Republicans had no choice but to go around the usual process after Democrats walked away. If he would only do that with the SAVE Act, right?
All these things were agreed upon. The funding for ICE and CBP, there was a bipartisan agreement to do those things. Minneapolis happened. They withdrew. Then they wanted more concessions. The administration sat down with them, offered up a robust package of reforms. They rejected it. And, those agencies were shut down for 50, 60 days, something like that. And so we really had no choice but to use reconciliation. I don't like doing that. That's not the way to fund agencies like this. There's a normal appropriations process that ought to be used for it. But that's what the Democrats left us with. And they seem to be happy with proceeding into an election with this campaign position of we are anti-law enforcement, we are defund the police, we are open borders, we are pro-sanctuary cities. I think that's a losing issue for them, but they don't seem to see it that way.
And they're going to keep losing on that. He says Democrats chose the anti-law enforcement lane and forced Republicans to act. Next, Mike Johnson driving the point home alongside families who paid the price for Biden's open border disaster.
Just a few moments ago, the House Republicans voted to end the Democrat Department of Homeland Security shutdown, once and for all. And we are pleased to tell you that we'll be funding for the next 3 years our border security and immigration enforcement. These are critical agencies and critical functions of the federal government, to state the obvious. And it's rather shocking to us that Democrats wanted none of it. We have 3 full years of funding now, and there is not a Democrat here who voted to support that. But what we've done now by funding it for 3 years is we've taken away their ability to cut that funding, to block that funding, or to take hostage the funding for the remainder of the Trump administration. And again, it's rather sad and shocking to us that it came to this, but that's the time we're in. A partisan vote to fund the enforcement of federal immigration law. Just think of it. But this is good news for everybody except Washington Democrats, okay? They gained absolutely nothing from their reckless crusade to return our country to open borders and unfettered mass migration. House Republicans will always stand with America's law enforcement And we will always work to ensure that these brave men and women have the resources they need to carry out their responsibilities, to protect.
So Johnson tying the fight directly to victims like Laken Riley, calling out that every Democrat who voted no. Shifting to the media battle now, Will Cain puts a Michigan Democrat on the spot with one question the left never wants to answer.
Answering my question is the entire point. You're pivoting to talking points.
I would like to finish my answer. Let me finish my answer.
The question I asked, we can have an appropriate interview.
Let me finish my answer. $185 billion for ICE. That's $185 billion that are not being spent to improve anything from your infrastructure to your kid's school or to help you afford your health care. Gas is just the tip of the iceberg. So if you do want to talk about ICE, let's talk about the opportunity cost of paying $185 billion into an agency that is currently sowing unrest in New Jersey, just like it did in Minneapolis.
What is the cost to deny citizenship? Mr. Sayed, what is the cost to deny citizenship? What is the cost of violence on the street when you have criminals, murderers, inside that Delaney Hall facility, who you advocated, by the way, in a Facebook post, to empty out the prisons that you think we should put effort into, invest in, and support the idea? I believe the direct quote is, I believe that any idea that gets people out of jail should be supported. And I'm talking about the cost you're imposing on society.
Whether or not this system is actually making people any safer. Ask yourself, do you feel safer now pumping your gas? Do you feel safer now in your neighborhoods? Or do you feel less safe because you've got a $185 billion force that's answerable only to Donald Trump? Ask yourself about whether or not people
I think we know the answer to that question.
Should have felt any safer.
I think we know the answer to that question. I think you asked the parents of Jocelyn Nungaray, the parents of Laken Riley, whether or not they feel safer under Donald Trump's policies.
I don't think most people feel safer. I'm so sorry. But Will, if you want to have an honest conversation about the issue, we can do that. But if you just want to interrupt me when I'm answering your question, I just don't know what the value is.
Mr. Sayed, I want to have an honest conversation. I just wish you would answer my questions and not pivot to other talking points you want to have. Okay, that is my simple
No, I just think it's important to see this in context.
I told you last week and I told you today, I want to give you appropriate time to have these conversations, but it requires two of us to talk on the same subject to have this conversation. Let's talk for a moment.
So, that's the real story. President Trump and his team are carving out the strongest, clearest lane in the entire immigration fight. If you're in this country illegally and you're a public safety threat, you should be removed. Period. Homan called it nonpartisan because the White House understands something the left still refuses to admit. Americans may disagree on many parts of immigration policy, but they overwhelmingly support protecting their families from criminals, traffickers, predators, and repeat offenders. That's why the administration keeps elevating angel families, victim stories, and local cooperation battles. This is the implementation phase. The House passed the bill, Republicans locked in years of DHS funding, and President Trump signed the Secure America Act, fully funding DHS through the end of his term so Democrats can no longer hold ICE and Border Patrol hostage. This was a massive America First win today, guys. President Trump said he was thrilled to sign the Secure America Act, giving the heroes of ICE and Border Patrol the support and resources they need to defend our borders, protect the homeland, and keep America safe. Secretary Mullen made the point even sharper. Now Democrats can't threaten to shut down ICE or CBP and use American safety as leverage. That's the checkmate. And look how exposed the left is right now. Will Cain confronted a Democrat Senate candidate by invoking the families of Jocelyn Nungaray and Laken Riley. That's where this debate is heading, and Democrats know it. The question now is brutally simple. Should public safety enforcement against criminal illegal aliens be untouchable by partisan games? I want to hear your answer. Yes or no? Drop your comment below. Share this report everywhere. And if you're sick of the media protecting failed open borders ideology, subscribe, turn on your notifications right now. But most importantly, text those two words on the screen. Raw feed to 844-840-4963. We are cutting out YouTube's failed notification system. We're going direct to you. Every single night, you'll get a text message with the latest news that we have reported for the day, and you will not be out of the loop any longer. We're taking the message straight to you, right to your phone. So make sure you join the thousands of patriots who've already done that. And celebrate America 250, right? So much winning, right? So much to celebrate. Check out the merch shelf below this video, or just simply go to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Pick out something you like, and let's keep celebrating these wins.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this. Share this now.